Hello friends, now we are beginning the second lesson on Einstein's ideas and opinions. In this lesson we will talk about the unit on freedom which Einstein has given. Earlier he has already spoken to us about the meaning of existence, about spirituality, about democracy and the military system, etc. I would like to know how much you understood from the earlier lesson. Therefore, let us have a small recap before we begin to talk about ideas and opinions. I will ask each of you some questions and you have to answer them one by one. The first question, tell me the name of the first piece which we did.
The World as I See It.
That's good. Can you tell me now, what is the goal of life advocated by Einstein?
He said, a simple and frugal life was the best one. A life in which people recognize their debt to society and work by repaying it by hard work for the welfare of others.
Good. Now tell me what Einstein considers the best form of government.
Democracy. He says democracy is ideal because it does not idealize any one person. It gives equal importance and respect to all individuals.
Excellent. Now tell me why he hates the military system?
Because it is for the people who do not use the brain.
The military system supports war, which he as a pacifist cannot support. He also feels that enforced military service makes a person lose his individuality and become a machine. Then, the emotions which he feels, such as patriotism, also becomes very mechanical.
Okay, that's very good. Now, can you tell me about his views on God?
Einstein believes that the God is an impersonal model of reason. He does not believe in God who rewards or punishes.
How does he define true religiosity?
He says that the emotion of finding the mystery in existence as beautiful and knowing that it is inexplicable is the definition of true religiosity. Therefore, he describes himself as religious because he believes that there is a divine hidden design in every aspect of nature.
That's very good. I see that all of you remember very well what happened in the first lesson. Now let us begin to talk about Einstein's ideas on freedom in this lesson. Einstein speaks about the concept of freedom first in thought. He says that everybody is entitled to an opinion. We cannot challenge anybody's opinion. But if that opinion is harmful to society, then we should stop such an opinion. He says that real freedom is not only physical freedom. It also involves an intellectual and an inward freedom. Einstein advocates that a real good society is one where everyone has freedom. Now let us see in greater detail what Einstein says about the concept of freedom. This unit, which is called On Freedom, begins with an example. Einstein says, suppose a person has an idea that he wants to destroy the world and kill all human beings. On the rational plane, you cannot argue with it because this is his opinion. Opinions are not debatable. Therefore, he can have this idea. But when it comes to practice, such an idea cannot be allowed because this idea breaks the human values. Human value tells us that we should work for the betterment of others, not for the destruction of others. He says that here there are two ways in which human beings can become better. One is to produce the necessities of life with the minimum effort. And the other is to have complete freedom for a creative life. Each of these two are dependent on each other. For instance, a person who's very busy earning a livelihood has no time for personal benefit. Therefore, he does not gain any inward development. He does not become creative. For this, Einstein says that we require to develop scientific knowledge because science and technology make life easier. So if there is a good scientific progress, society also progresses. Then people have a lot of time to devote to their inward pursuits. But he says for real scientific progress, the cooperation of society is most important. Society should encourage independent intellectual activity. Suppose a person's ideas, when they are expressed, create discomfort or danger for himself. Suppose the ideas are suppressed, then that society is not going to benefit. So first he looks for freedom at the physical level. He says that we should first have all the comforts so that we are free. The second is the free intellectual expression. Einstein says that any intellectual experience, any intellectual experiment needs to be communicated. For this, we require freedom of communication. Unless we have freedom of expression, we cannot have real freedom. Suppose a person is scared that by expressing his or her ideas, he or she will be punished, then such a person will stop thinking and society will not benefit by these exceptional individuals and their thoughts. Now, I would like to ask you some questions about your understanding of Einstein's definition of freedom. He speaks about scientific and technological development as a prerequisite for freedom. I'm sure you have many ideas about freedom yourself. Now let me find out from you what you think about freedom. Deepika?
Maybe he was referring to the suppression during the Hitler's regime, especially as he was a Jew, a group that was tortured a lot during the Second World War.
You're right. Einstein suffered immensely at various points in his life, and he saw many intellectuals being suppressed. Therefore, he expressed this idea with so much of force.
After mentioning that law should protect the rights of people and give them freedom to express themselves, he says there is another factor which is needed. He wants to cultivate a spirit of tolerance and not fight with those who express their opinions and counter to their own. He says that what he is advocating is a state of ideal liberty which may not be possible at all times, but this is no reason to give up hope.
He says that we should constantly strive to reach this ideal. Only then when it is possible for society to progress with help of free scientific, philosophical and creative thinking.
Two very important ideas about freedom have been discussed in this essay. Let us see how he talks about spiritual freedom. Two very important aspects of freedom are discussed in the rest of the essay. Therefore, we shall talk about this now. Einstein says that spiritual freedom is important. Now, what does he mean by spiritual freedom? First, he says that we should have physical freedom. Already he has mentioned this, that great scientific progress and great technological advancement helps us to have free time. Science and technology make our life simpler. Therefore, we can devote a lot of time to inner pursuits. This he calls creativity. It might be a scientific or an artistic pursuit. Once a person is engaged in inner pursuits, his intellectual freedom comes. So the first level is physical freedom, and the next level is intellectual freedom. Sufficient leisure makes a person have the time and inclination to pursue intellectual freedom. Great intellectuals are the people who can engage themselves in progress of science and in artistic pursuits too. For creativity, therefore, we require people to devote time to themselves. Only then they realize that their internal life, their internal freedom is as important as their physical freedom. He says there might be some hurdles in the path of this freedom. For instance, society might be very rigid. A school might have strict laws, or it might have a strict spiritual culture. These rigidities have to be removed from society. People in power might sometimes suppress others from thinking clearly. All these stop a person's intellectual freedom. Einstein says that to get real intellectual freedom, we require the help of schools, we require the help of society, we require the help of politicians because they make laws. We require good laws in place so that an individual is ensured freedom. Unless there is freedom in the world outside and in the internal dimension of a person, real freedom does not happen. So Einstein's views on freedom tell us very clearly that we should strive first for freedom of getting rid of excessive hard work. This, he says, can be done by planning. And then we have to talk about internal freedom, using our free time correctly. Once we use our free time correctly, we start generating new ideas, and this is the result of freedom. Now, can we have a discussion on the views of freedom of Einstein? I would like all of you to tell me what you think of Einstein's ideas on freedom.
Einstein has made a very valid point here. We see how in the last few decades the world is endangered, and most people are so busy that they don't even think of spiritual development. They only live in the material plane.
People are busy, but not with earning their living. Technology has made life easy, as Einstein said it would. But people are using their free time in useless pastimes. But they are not developing in thought power for the benefit of humanity.
That is true. Einstein wants the mind to be free. But do we really find such a freedom today? No, not at all. Hardly no one has personal thought. People like to do what others are doing and what others are thinking.
When we had no political freedom, India produced great thinkers who can change the world by exercising the power of freedom of thought. But today, after having so many great thinkers and political freedom, the great thinkers are not producing any original ideas for the benefit of the people of the country.
That is good. All of you have expressed your ideas on freedom as has been explained by Einstein in this unit, and you have also told us how relevant these ideas are in the world of today. Now let us do some language work. In each lesson, we should not only learn the content, but we should also learn the language, because good English today is very important. By reading Einstein's essay, we can learn English also. In the earlier lesson, we did some vocabulary and spelling exercises. Today, let us do an exercise on structures. Fluency in communication depends on how you can use language in a variety of contexts. You must be able to say the same sentence in different ways without changing the meaning of the sentence. This means that you have great fluency of communication. This is the exercise we will do today based on some of the sentences taken from Einstein's essay. Let me read out to you the first sentence. I'm reading the sentence out to you. How strange is the lot of us mortals! Exclamation mark. This is an exclamatory sentence. Can you make it into a simple assertive sentence? Gopi?
The lot of us mortals is very strange.
Right. Now, can you make it into a question or an interrogative sentence?
Isn't the lot of us mortals strange?
Good. Let me give you another exclamation to change into an assertive sentence. I'm reading the sentence to you now. How passionately I hate them! Exclamation mark.
I hate them passionately.
That's right. Now let us see how the degree of a superlative adjective can be reduced to the comparative degree. I'm giving you a sentence here. Please listen to the sentence carefully. The most beautiful experience we can have is the mysterious. Can you do it, Deepika?
A more beautiful experience than the mysterious we can have.
Oh no. You started correctly, but you changed the meaning of the sentence. You should have used the word cannot instead of the word can. So the correct form of this sentence should be a more beautiful experience than the mysterious we cannot have. Anyway, don't worry about making mistakes. Remember that unless you make mistakes, you cannot learn. So even if you make mistakes, you must not stop answering the questions. Next sentence, I'm reading out the sentence to you. I'm strongly drawn to a frugal life. Now, can you begin this sentence with the words, a frugal life?
A frugal life strongly draws me.
Excellent. Do you know what you have done? You have changed a passive sentence into an active one. This is one of the very important rules of transformation. Now, I would like to give you one more sentence which is passive, and I want you to change it into an active sentence. I'm reading out the sentence to you. I'm satisfied with the mystery of the eternity of life. Can you do it, Karthik?
The mystery of the eternity of life satisfies me.
That's very good. Now we have done some exercises on transformation of sentences. Structures, as you know, are the backbone of a language. You want to learn English well, then you must know the structures of the language. We did a very small exercise, but remember, this small exercise should help you to do many more exercises on your own. When you learn from each other, when you learn individually, then your learning is complete.